founded my first company in software development space. I built startups either as co-founder, either sometimes I joined startups. There is one cyber startup which we built, which made an exit to 55 million to proof point, which was called Fireless. I also was part of scaling Bonify. This is one of the famous fintech startups in Germany, helped to scale it to 1.3 million users in 2 years, and now it's sold to Schufa, which is the biggest credit agency in Germany.
Dmitry is a serial entrepreneur, tech executive, and venture builder with over 20 years of experience across fintech, cybersecurity, cloud computing, and software innovation. He is currently the founder and CEO of Tech Biz Global and a top 10 CTO to watch in 2024. He has led technology, data, and business growth strategies at scale. Привет, Dmitry. Dobro podsalovat na the executives.
Thank you very much, Majid, and happy to be here. I'm Dmitry Kharchenko. I'm tech entrepreneur, as was said correctly. I built several startups and tech service companies for more than 20 years. My focus is usually 3 areas: is fintech, cybersecurity, and people. So everything related to HR, tech, and people. So my career started very interesting. So my career started in Army, where I was leading cybersecurity topics for many, many different years. So after that, I was building different business intelligence systems for corporates. I founded my first company in software development space. And since then, I think already more than maybe 12 years, I'm building startups. So I built startups either as co-founder, either sometimes I joined startups. To give you a couple of examples, there is one cyber startup which we built, which made an exit to 55 million to proof point, which was called Fireless. I also was part of scaling Bonify. This is one of the famous fintech startups in Germany. I helped to scale it to 1.3 million users in 2 years, and now it's sold to Schufa, which is the biggest credit agency in Germany. I also was part of different products, like, for example, insurtech companies, which were building different products, which were selling insurances and online banking of Deutsche Bank, with a lot of compliance and security, especially important in Germany. Now what I'm doing is basically 3 things. I'm a founder and CEO of Tech Biz Global. We are an international recruitment company, having clients already like in 29 countries. I'm also a board member and non-executive director of Valoop Holding, which is a London-based fintech startup. And also I'm advising CTO and CDO several startups all around the world. This is more or less my intro.
Cool. It's a very diverse profile, by the way. A lot of people, a lot of my own friends have been waiting for me to bring in a CTO. A lot of them. They'll be like, Majid, we need you to bring a CTO. They said it would be cool to have, someone who has a lot of experience, someone whose stories they can actually resonate very closely with, because, developers, a lot of times they're introverts, So my friends are cool people, but it's hard for them to also find leaders who are like, they can say, you know what, this guy's an inspiration. If you look at sales and stuff, there are more people communication and blah, blah, blah. But it's like different. But before we dive into the serious topic, I have a fun little question for you.
Go for it.
If you had to describe your leadership style, not in the form of servant leader and blah, blah, we don't do that. You have to describe it in a fast food item.
Fast food item?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
What would it be and why?
Fast food item is, well, it's an interesting question, I must say. I think if you could pick up, let's say, any food which is flexible, right? So, for example, I don't know, like a gum, right? So I think this is how the leadership style should be, right? So you need to adapt and be flexible in various situations, various environments, various setups. It's the same, like, for example, if you're talking about the usual terms, right? I mean, in one situation, you want to be base keeper, but in crises, you want to be super directive, right? So, and that's why I think that GAM or anything which can change the form, adapt, and so on, this would be my choice of food.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, cool. That's a pretty cool answer. I was interesting.
I'm looking forward for many more surprising questions like this.
we will see. No, we will have some more fun stuff, during the way, because that's one thing I've learned is people might think that the C level is boring, but that's not true. So it's not true. That's why I was like, yeah, why not put in a few fun little questions like this one, and just see the reaction. Like, huh? What? I did not expect this question. So I thought you were going to ask me about my career, which we'll do. But today we are sitting to discuss building ventures at the edge of innovation, tech leadership, and scaling impact across global markets. You briefly touched upon yourself, like what you have been doing. You mentioned acquisitions. You have been consulting. You are doing 3 things right now, and you also touched upon Tech Biz Global, a little bit about what you guys do. Let's firstly dive into what is the story behind Tech Biz Global. Why did you get into like headhunting or recruitment business? And then
Tech Biz Global started as an idea driven by real need, right? So I was CTO and CDO in different startups, and I always had the passion for technology and talent. And I saw a real problem, right? So that many startups at scale actually need a high quality talent and certain type of software solutions. And this is how it started. So I already built, this is not my first talent company. I built one many years ago, but it was on small scale, only in local region and so on. And now I'm just doing it on an international level. This is exactly what I wanted to do. So, I mean, our mission is to enable customers with sustainable growth, right? So, and providing really equal opportunities to the candidates, right? In various regions. So currently let's put it this way, so that Tech Biz Global is global story, right? So we adapted to various geographical challenges and geopolitics and embrace remote work. And we managed to build vastly like international team, right? So we have members in Germany, Georgia, Nigeria, Netherlands, Philippines, Armenia, and I can continue, right? So I think this is what is important, right? So, I mean, we are truly international company. So regarding the customers, right? So I mean, what we do? What is our service? We provide recruitment and IT solutions. So we help companies to find and hire tech talent. And since certain time, we also started to do non-tech talent. If you are talking about the tech, then it's CTOs, CPOs, engineers, product owners. If you are talking about non-tech, then it's pre-sales, sales, accountants, finance. So we literally can find you any type of talent which can build a tech product, right? So, or to sell a tech product. So we serve more than 130 customers already in 29 countries. We have clients starting from early stage startups to the scale-ups, like Series A to D. And I think this is where our sweet spot, right? So Series A to D startups, which already have revenues, which already ready to scaling, right? I mean, and this is exactly where a lot of different, let's say, challenges emerge, especially on talent part, and this is where we come and help. So also, maybe to name a few, I mean, like, besides the startups, we also work with different manufacturer companies and international banks, but still our focus is really startup world. What is also important to say, we are supporting almost any model today of recruitment. We from classical ones like one-time fee, outstaff, team augmentation, but we also do retainer models. We give our recruiters. We also do something called employer of record, which is we provide in 120 countries. This is when, for example, company wants to hire a local talent and doesn't have a legal entity. So let's put it this way: we are truly international company which is dealing scaling of talent through the recruitment.
On the other side of the table, who are like looking for people like like yourself. So the biggest question I always used to ask recruitment agencies was like, what's the turnaround times? Because that was like also like the biggest problem for us. Like I remember I needed someone for Ruby developer. I know Ruby is not that commonly used. It's an old story, but I went to develop like agencies because I didn't have the time, and the HR sadly was not able to find people. It was 2014, I think, 13, 14. So it was that old.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, in our case, I don't see that we cannot find the people, right? I mean, we have currently, I think, close to 150 positions open, right? I mean, and our recruiters is finding always the matching. It just sometimes it's very tricky requirements, right? So, for example, in certain region with certain skill set, with certain background of, I don't know, certain type of startups or insurance or venture capital and so on. I mean, the difference is that we have our own database already. We have 80,000 people in our own vetted talent pool. So, which obviously helps, right? So, plus we are doing a lot of different events. We participate in different networks and activities. So I mean, like we have a lot of different ways of how we can find a good talent, right? So and we are different because our team is coming from startup world themselves. So like me, we're building several startups, and sometimes startups is coming to me and saying, well, we need to hire this and this and this. And then after like half an hour talk, we realize, no, you don't need to hire this and this. You actually need this and this, because this is what can help your business to scale much better. And that's why, I mean, this is how we differentiate, right? I mean, because we are coming with so many regions, very vast talent pool, and also knowledge of startups that many agencies doesn't have, right? So I mean, and this is our differentiator I mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, it is very important, right? Also with the considering like the whole landscape evolving right now. So I think hiring a CTO right now, I would actually expect that whoever helps me out hiring a CTO, I would expect them to know AI in and out, because otherwise, not just like ChatGPT and DeepSeek, but I would like them to understand, like what can you do with AI, because it's that powerful. And I also, like, when I was looking through your profile and your website, I think that was the biggest USP for me as well. As like, this would be one reason where I would say, you know what, I should trust these guys, like helping me hire people. But now you have helped teams through growth and crisis. So there's always happy moments, and there are always not happy moments, or like panic moments. How has your leadership style evolved over the years?
Well, let's speak about this. So I mean, like, I think that leadership style in general, as I said before, it should be very adapted to the particular environment, right? So I mean, like, today, in today's rapidly evolving digital landscape, with all the experiences I had, right? So I think that leadership is undergone really a lot of different transformations, right? So, I mean, let's start with access to the technology, right? So, I mean, access to technology 30 years ago, however, I'm not that old, was different than now. I'm in business already like more than 20 something years, and I mean, many things change. Like today, leadership is about navigating like complexity with vision, empathy, agility, empowering, inspiring others to achieve goals, and all this is happening in a rapidly changing digital landscape. I think the surrounding environment of where you are, whether you build a company or you are part of some environment, is really something that you need to be aware of. For example, when you have a leadership in army, right? Then you have a very strict rules and very clear subordination processes, right? When you are building startups, it's completely different world, right? So, I mean, you have much more freedom for innovation. You can experiment a lot of things and so on. So that's why I think leadership style, first of all, over the years, it's became more mature in the way that you were exposed to so many different situations in different environments, which actually shape your leadership style overall. If, for example, when I founded my first company, right, I mean, we were supernovas, right? So, and you were asking basic questions, right? So then later, when we were founding companies, right? I mean, or joining companies, we were more thinking about organizational psychology, right? So then basic stuff. So, and obviously, all these experiences impacting your decisions, your emotional intelligence, your how you treat certain situations, and so on. What also important to mention, I think, what really helps to shape your leadership style, it's not only the environment and experiences, is talking to your network. It's unbelievable impact how it can really open up your eyes when you speak to fellow founders, CEOs, CTOs, and that's why, for example, the podcast, right? So that you learn, or short conversations, or different master classes that you do together, or even going to the bar together, right? So, and speaking about different situations, this has tremendous impact, right? So on your knowledge, and this also shapes your leadership style because you learn from practical experiences.
Nicely said. Nicely said. One thing I've learned is, when I started this podcast was, I would say that the problem that you had yesterday could be my problem tomorrow. So if we don't do what you're saying, I am basically trying to solve my problem, reinvent the wheel again. But however, what I can do is I can just have a conversation with you, and when I see the problem, I can already have the solution. Or I can say, oh yeah, you know what, Dmitry can help me out with this. Let me reach out to Dmitry.
Correct.
Dmitry has a team of people who can actually help me out, there. So it's all about like who has the problem when, and then others' experiences can help massively, like you mentioned as well, because you are now advising startups and investors globally, right? So what kind of mindset shift is actually required from being an operator role who's basically building stuff, all the time you're building, coding, or doing something DevOps or sales, etc., to becoming an advisor or a mentor to people like startups and investors?
I think to describe my profile, in some companies I'm still operational. In some companies I'm board member and advisor. So to be concrete with examples, in Tech Biz Global I'm still operational. I'm CEO, right? So that's why I need to understand things and operate them. So regarding the advisor role, like for example, let's take Valoop, right? So it's UK holding where I'm in non-executive director, and there it's more about advising and giving different strategic thoughts and so on. So the key mindset shift, I think, from doing to guiding, right? So when you're, as an operator, you are hands-on and in control. As advisor, you need to listen more, to ask right questions and let founders make their own decisions, right? But with some strategic guidance and experience that you have, right? So, and this is very important when you are advising and guiding, not to enter to the operational activities, because then this is exactly when the chances that you will be biased are much higher. So that's why this is a big difference, right? So to be operational and advisor, and as I mentioned, like, I mean, every transition, right? So should go through some understanding. For me, the understanding was I was part of different coaching colloquiums, right? So with top schools in the world, really, here in Berlin, and there I learned the perspective of really famous international coaches, how they coach people, right? And this is actually was an eye opener, right? I mean, to understand the difference between, okay, so I'm operational, I'm a trainer, versus I'm advisor and I'm a coach, right? So this is a big difference, and I think if you want to understand or somebody wants to understand how to really to be advisor, try to disconnect from operational activities and read a bit about coaching, right? So how to coach people, because this is one of the ways how you can actually advise.
No, I think it is important, right? Like again, the beauty I like about the conversation we are having is you're coming back to the same very important point: network, talk to people, learn from people, and talk to people. Like you're coming back to the same point, like again.
True.
And I think this is a very important point for every single person who's trying to do anything, regardless. Even if you're an IC level role, you want to grow to that M level role, right? Manager. You want to become a head of, a director, a VP, blah blah blah. A C level. But how do you do that? You need to learn from people, because at the end of I remember the first time I jumped from an IC level role, I had absolutely zero idea about budget management, because ICs never get budgets, right? They never get budget. So when the first time I became a head, and they told me, hey, this is your budget, I was like, okay, what does this mean? So, because I didn't know. There was no manual that came with it, right? There was nothing that came with it. So my CPO was super nice. He explained it to me like, this is now you have a responsibility with the money. So this is not just money. You need to make sure there is enough money in the tank. You need to bring in money. So you are responsible for driving revenue. So that's how my perspective changed as well. So the answer you're giving is like, I resonate a lot. Personally, I resonated with a lot. Also because we are both from the tech industry.
True. So, and maybe to add on top of it. So, I mean, learning is very true aspect, right? And many actually founders in general, right? So they underestimate the power of asking questions. I mean, like if you would see different, like even video recordings of top leaders in the world, right? I mean, from big corporates, without giving names, like, I mean, all of them were at initial stage, right? So when there was no company, right? And sometimes just by asking question or asking for help, right? So can be a game changer for your company and for your personal development. And maintaining this network over the years is definitely a key aspects for success in any company, because nowadays, right, so I have a network that I can call almost immediately with any type of problem, right? So whether it's business related, whether it's personal related, whether it's something related to revenues, compliance, or anything, right? I mean, because over the years you are building the network, and it's important to maintain this network, right? So means to actually help each other, to meet in person, and so on and so on. And over time, it grows to some, let's say, it's like your private university, right? So I really like this statement. It's like your own private university where people can call you and you can call them, right? So and you help each other and you also enjoy the way, right? So this is very important aspect, I think.
The thing is, like, oftentimes people complain, yeah, Majid, this guy is like this and this guy. I'm like, did you even talk to them? Like, because I sent them a message and they replied, like, I mean, the answer was short, but because I'm not, like, I asked multiple times, this high end executives, I messaged them something up, hey, what do you think about this? And there's like, I got answers about 80 to 85% of the time, 80 to 85% of the time, because my question was actually something they could answer. So if you're sending in, hey, how's the weather in Berlin? Dmitry would be like, dude, I'm super busy to tell you. You can just Google it, right? But if I asked Dmitry, hey, Dmitry, look, I'm trying to move my game up in the career. I want to get from like a IC level to M level. There is a good probability Dmitry will reply.
Correct. Like, I mean, I when I was asked, I remember I was studying master degree, and I was asked about what you really want to do, right? I mean, in terms of social impact, the answer was immediate. Like, I mean, I want to help young entrepreneurs, right, so to grow, and this is what I'm doing. This is why I'm mentoring. I'm part of different accelerators right now, and so on. And it's very true, right? I mean, the C-level executives are pretty busy, right? So they're managing their time very well, right? So as you know, I'm pretty sure you know, right, and many others. That's why, I mean, questions about the weather, I agree, right? I mean, probably there is a high chance that nobody will reply unless you're really true good friends. But to help really people with dedicated question and so on, it's always welcome. It's really like this.
Yeah. Whenever I send a question to anyone, right, I ask them, is it going to help me? Like, is it going to help me? And is it going to make the other person wonder, like, that I'm trying to also look for value, like look for value in them. So I'm looking for the inspiration from them. Because if you like phrase your question correctly, you will get an answer. You'll get an answer.
Yeah,
like
there is a big chance of it. Yeah, agree.
I've seen you on a lot of conferences. Let me put it that way. I can't count them right now live, but I've seen you on a lot of like events, live events, and you're always standing there. Because that's because you're passionate about Tech Biz Global, right? So that's why you're standing there with the team. You are there. I mean, you can also like send a team, will make life easier for you. But no, you're standing there. You're standing on every conference. You were there on
Money 2020, Viva Tech, Jitex, a lot of them. So I agree. I mean, like, I think what I learned over time, right? I mean, like, that you need to really enjoy the journey. I mean, like, it's not about the like end result, right? So because finally, like when you are young, right? I mean, and so on, and maybe you don't have experience, you make sometimes the choices where you work for people or work for companies which not always aligned with what you want. So, but over time, gaining the experiences, right? So, I think what I learned a lot is that when you are joining an environment or building an environment, you really truly need to love it. So you need to make fun during this journey, right? So, I mean, because it is not journey to build a company is not journey for one day, right? So, I mean, it's not journey for months; it's journey for years, and that's why you really need to. I mean, people ask me why I'm doing like a service recruitment company and not startup, right? So, I mean, which I was building for many years, like several startups. It's because this is what I want to do at this part of my life, right? I mean, because I really like it. I really like to see people growing. I really like to see companies scaling. I really like to build international team, and this is what keeps this moving, right? I mean, when many companies in HR space and recruitment space actually struggling in the last 5 years, we reached 130 customers worldwide, right? I mean, enterprise customers, and we continue to scale, right? I mean, so that's why. I mean, and part of it is really the drive that you give as a founder to the team, and I think this is very important.
Recruitment business is very interesting. Like I consulted a few startups here and there, hiring CPOs or head of products or product people mostly. And the thing is, when the person signed the contract, that was such a magical moment. You're basically seeing that, like someone accepted the job, like your work paid off, and like it's just cool that you're actually creating this, you're bringing the people together, like you're connecting from employee, the talent, and then you're bringing in the employer, the acquisition partner. So it feels so good. Like I remember the first time I like did that was just a fun little thing. Like a friend of mine, hey Majid, I'm struggling finding like a good PO, need one in Pakistan, so I helped him out. And then when I remember the lady signed, I was just so happy. I actually went to like like one of my favorite restaurants in Berlin, Thai restaurant. I went there and I treated myself to that.
Yeah, very good. I mean, this is a success story, right? I mean, we experienced this a lot, right? I mean, obviously you need to celebrate. It's also important to work with experts like us, right? I mean, because like you're going to the doctor, right? So because the doctor is expert in health, right? So and the same, you need to go to Tech Biz Global, right? So because we are expert in finding good quality talent, right? So, I mean, and obviously, me as a founder, as I'm enjoying the way, I'm doing the same, right? So, I mean, we are celebrating a lot, right? So, of such cases, we also are making fun, and we are making team buildings. We also meeting in person, right? So in different countries, right? So I mean, like this part of success celebration, I think it's super crucial, right? So especially for remote teams when you don't sit in one office, right? So all together, right? I mean, you can share the bread, right? So for the lunch, I think this celebration moment is super crucial for the culture of the company.
Yeah, true. And how do you celebrate? Like, let's break the secret down. How does a successful CTO celebrate success?
I think it's super personal. First of all, I mean, like I truly inspired by my family, right? So I'm a family guy. I have so I usually, like in half of the cases, I'm celebrating with my family, which is I think very important because they are part of this journey too, and not easy journey, especially for the founders. And obviously, I'm celebrating with my team, right? So I mean, we are doing different, as I said, team building events, right? So and different small celebrations remotely. We are sharing different like presents on different occasions. We are trying to fly to different conferences together from different countries, right? And making different dinners there. So there are many ways actually how we celebrate. But I think it should be deeply rooted inside the culture, right? So because not always celebration must be something big, right? So sometimes it's just sharing the photos, sign of appreciation, small present, or running a special event virtually, right? I mean, there are many ways actually that we are doing. Now I'm realizing we're having many ways. Yeah.
No, that's actually one point you mentioned. Love that about bringing your family in, because they are there with you, like 24 hours. You're there with your kids, with wife, with your partner, or you basically they are there with you, right? They're supporting you during the downs as well. And I just remembered one of my friends. So he ended up becoming like a VP of marketing, and he wanted to celebrate. So I asked him, hey, and he said that he will first celebrate with his family and then his team. So because his wife was really supporting him like a lot, so, and his kids also were like very supportive and everything. He, like, I asked, what are you planning to do? Are you going to go to a restaurant or fancy? He was like, no. He said, my kids love strawberry picking. So he took his kids to strawberry picking on celebrating success. And he said, Majid, this was the best thing that I could do with my family. He was so happy. His kids were so happy. His wife was so happy. It was like the small things make a lot of sense, right? Like also like what you were mentioning, like celebrate with your family, with your team, and do stuff for them. But now the journey, it's normally not like all smooth, right? There are also problems, challenges, so to say. And when you're helping startups scale, what are you seeing as some of the biggest challenging, especially when you're building distributed tech teams, and what are your opinions about how they can actually overcome them?
Yeah, so I mean, like the times of everybody being in the office, they changed, they transformed, right? So especially after 2020 and Corona and so on, a lot of things started to happen remote. And I think the major problem, like I recently was advising one company, and typical case is that many founders or CTOs, they not always realize that the small scale processes for 15 people will not work for 500 people at all. So it means that you need to, for example, a couple of practical examples, you need to change the processes, right? So like introducing OKRs or some strategic goals, and all this need to be clarified and translated throughout all organization, which is much harder to do with, I don't know, 300, 500, 1,000 people than 15 people. So the communication in this case is a key. Means that you need to, starting from channels of communication like Slack, right? So formats of communication, communication style, and this is very important. So the second topic is probably everything related to cybersecurity and compliance. So it's becoming a really important topic in distributed teams. And it's not only about using the EDR, XDR solutions. It's ending up with social engineering trainings, right? So because in every country you have different regulations, different ways of working, different culture, different threats, right? So inclusion, social threats, and so on. So that's why I think another topic in cybersecurity, right? So is everything related to AI agent workforce. I'm doing a lot of keynotes actually about this nowadays, and if you look at the statistics, that Gartner predicts that 15% of the day-to-day decision makings at work will be done by autonomous AI agents by, I think, 2028, if I remember correctly. So, which was zero last year. So, zero decision makings by AI agents was last year, right? So, and 15% of the workforce decision makings will be done by AI agents. So, this is a big shift, and obviously it's impacting a lot of things in cybersecurity. The last but not least, I think maybe a third challenge, right? So I think that you need to not to compromise on quality of your talent. When you scale, especially when you fundraise, you have a good revenue growth, good ARR, and then you actually try to scale the team. Besides the processes, cyber, and other things, some companies are trying just to hire fast. And hire fast should not mean hire low quality or not fitting candidates. And this is another mistake, right? Because hiring 10 people, right? So immediately next week with all of them with good quality and 10 people which will be, let's say, good enough quality, it can be a big changer for certain department, right? And that's why another mistake is exactly this, right? That when founders start to scale or CTOs start to scale, right? They're speeding up, but sometimes they just need to stop and think who they need. And then this is exactly why customers are coming to Tech Biz Global to really scale fast, but with good quality. So because in many cases, internal HR teams simply not capable to do this scale, especially cross region, right? So because, for example, if you had a company in certain country with the local HR and now you to scale globally, right? Then you need to involve somebody in expertise, right? So which can help you to scale not in this country but across international locations. So I think this would be the 3 points that I can mention.
And also, I think like with the whole COVID, a lot of things actually changed, and companies more rapidly started accepting remote work and so on. Companies started exploring, like German companies started going to not just Eastern Europe, but also Colombia, though that part, Asia as well, because that helped them like hire so good, like much. Your talent pool suddenly becomes 10x, or 100x, if not more. And then you're able to hire more people. You're able to, like create job opportunities in, like, while sitting in Germany, you're creating job opportunities in Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Vietnam, all those countries, which is super, super cool. And then companies like Tech Biz Global, like helping with the EORs, that's something they can always utilize, because EORs, it's like it makes life so much easy that you don't need to worry about a lot of things. Then Dmitry's team takes care of a lot of problems that normally they will be having. So it essentially is like it also helps businesses. But now you were a former CTO and CDO. Now you're a CEO. Normally, whenever a CTO or CDO or CPO is building products, vision normally gets lost as well. You started with building something, and then you're scaling the organization, and suddenly the vision is like gone. Like people are doing what they want, especially when you're scaling like at hyper growth. Like you are hiring 10 product managers a month. I've seen companies do that, and I'm like, you really don't need 10 product managers. Hire two, and then make sure you scale them up. You put the vision in there into them, and they are able to understand the problem, and then scale up. Like I call this blitz hiring, because when you hire 10 product managers, and then you will probably in 6 months you will not have 10 of them, because they will be frustrated. They will not know what the vision is. They will be like banging in the walls. I've seen so many companies, even billion-dollar businesses, doing that.
I mean, if you're back to product vision, right? So then I think they're maintaining product vision during the scale at startups, right? So it's one of the hardest and super crucial things, right? So as company grows, it's easy for the teams to drift into silos, and this is a big problem, right? So I mean, the teams might, it doesn't matter if teams, departments, or functional teams, or cross-functional teams, or tribes, for example. It doesn't matter which organizational structure you have. It's easy that teams will start to chase features, right? So, or short-term goals. And to prevent this, you need to continuously translate like high-level vision into something actionable, right? So, and empower ownership across like every level of organization. So it's not just a communication, right? So there should be some creation of the system that is understandable and is followed. Like, I mean, to make it practical, I mean, what companies can do, let's start with documenting the vision clearly and revisiting regularly with the team. I mean, like in many cases, right? I mean, in early stage, everybody know the vision, but it's not documented because it's like word of mouth. But when you scale, right, so you have to document it, right? So and in an understandable, digestible way to others to really be part of it. I mean, build the product roadmaps, right? So around outcomes and not like outputs. This also helps, right? So, for example, use different OKR or similar frameworks, right? So to make sure that really the execution is really tied to what you need to achieve in terms of high-level goals. I think another thing is about the cross-functional collaboration, right? So, I mean, when the organization grows, obviously there are more and more silos created, right? So internal processes, internal understandings. So to avoid these, right? So, I mean, the leaders, especially CTOs and CPTOs, for example, and CPOs, they need to create this cross-functional collaboration across teams, across departments, and so on. It's not should be forced, right? So it should be part of joint effort. But yeah, I agree. Keeping the straight and right understanding of the product vision is one of the very challenging topics, right? So actually, and especially early stage of scaling, right? So it is not when you have a big organization when all the new processes established, right? So, but when you are scaling, you actually need to also change the processes, also maybe go to new markets, also hire new team members, also, I mean, learn a lot of stuff that you were not doing before as a founder. So yeah, I think this is a very critical point, and any CPO needs to invest, or founder CPO needs to invest enough of time, right, to really take care of this topic. Very good question, Majid.
No, it's nicely put. I mean, your answer was like very actionable, right? So what I'm liking about this conversation is very actionable. So if people can actually just, like listen to the 4 points that you just mentioned, like do this 1, 2, 3, 4, they already have enough info. They can actually do that. Let's move more towards the future, because normally I try to get insights about the future. So you are in tech, so you are working very closely with AI. So what technology trends, whether in fintech or cybersecurity or generally in AI, are you like actually super excited about in the, let's say, next 2 years, 5 years?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think we are living in very exciting times. This is like, I would start with this, because the innovation cycles, right? So from, I don't know, 2-3 years, they shrink to weeks, right? So nowadays, I mean, there are 4 topics that I'm also excited, and I think they are the biggest trends identified by major venture capitals like Andreessen Horowitz and so on. First of them is quantum computing, definitely. I mean, quantum computing moved from, sci-fi pages and movies, right? So to something like really one of the hottest topics. To give some real example, I don't remember when it happened. I think around like 5 or 6 months ago, Google actually released a chip which in 5 minutes did the computations which normally would take 10 septillion times. So I learned what means septillion. It's 24 zeros after one, right? So I mean, and there's a big change. And obviously there is a huge impact on many industries because of it. Like, for example, in healthcare, right? So then you can simulate different biological processes, or cryptography in cybersecurity, which can be literally open at certain time, right? So a lot of companies now really doing something about quantum computing because probably in the next several years, right? So, I mean, quantum computing that can open traditional methods of cryptography. So it's really big, exciting topic in my opinion. The second topic is robotics and AI combination. So, I mean, besides that, China and other countries launched recently dark factories without humans at all. There is another trend in robotics right now is that robotics are coming to household. For example, in Japan, AI-powered robots, nursing robots, actually helping with care for elderly care at home. So, and it's a very important topic in aging population. Like in Germany, it's 23% of population is above age of 65 right now. And in Japan, it's even more, it's 30%. So there are many different technologies which are coming from robotics factories to household to do the home chores, right? So on nursing and other, I think it's a very exciting time. The next thing, there are two more, in my opinion. Another one is everything related to blockchain and crypto. So, I mean, blockchain and crypto is not new topic, right? So, I mean, also in crypto, there is some negative connotation about like fraud in some areas. But blockchain is not only about the crypto. And now the trend is that it's some statement like every AI agent on blockchain needs a wallet. So, and this is the one direction that many people now are speaking about. So to give you tangible numbers, today, 60% of US consumers in certain markets making purchase decisions in chatbot. So means that some AI assistant or AI agent, right, so in already some cases telling you what to buy. So, and powered AI agents on blockchain ledger with wallets, right? So probably is the one of the trends which is happening now. And now the most famous, obviously, in general, artificial intelligence, right? So I think we now at the stage that finally generative AI and artificial intelligence received a mass adoption. So artificial intelligence is not new, right? So machine learning were existing for decades, right? So, I mean, we were building systems, right, which analyzing data and doing different predictions, right, many years ago. But now it's became publicly available, and you can speak to the AI in the human language. You don't need to be engineer anymore, right? So you don't need to be data scientist anymore. You don't need to do researches anymore. So and now with this mass adoption, we can find AI assistant and nowadays already agentic AI in some cases, almost in every application. You write an email, you have Copilot. You write a code, you have Copilot. You want to order something, you have AI assistants. You're talking to customer support, you are talking to something generated by AI and so on. And there are many cases of use cases of it already nowadays. So I say that the major change is happening besides the mass adoption is that AI came from the data collection, which were before, to data in action. So it means that nowadays there are actionable things that AI can do. It's learned to reason. Nowadays there is a term called AI brain, right? So, I mean, where you feed all the your data or enterprise data, and then this person can understand the environment, understand how you feel, understand how you communicate, and make some actions or suggest at least some actions. In many industries, there is still big topic of human in the loop, right? I mean, because in certain industries like healthcare and cybersecurity, people still afraid to, like, I mean, to give to AI agent to manage your cyber infrastructure. Obviously, many will say no. I mean, I'm usually asking this question publicly in my conferences, in my keynotes. So, but the trend is there, right? I mean, many already introducing AI agents as a workforce to train them and to do certain simple tasks, right? So certain routines or prepare everything and then have human in the loop to approve it, right? So, I mean, so this is really definitely one of the big topics. And also another thing I believe it's a shift from Google it to chat, right? So chat GPT nowadays has 800 million active users. Think about this, right? So 800 million active users weekly. So,
Damn.
I mean, there is a clear shift from like, I mean, let's Google it to let's ask certain ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, or any Meta AI, right? I mean, any assistant, right, that can help you and carve your decisions, right? So, or search for information. So, I mean, this is another topic which is super important, I think, because it's changing the user behavior, it's changing the decision making of the certain customer groups, right? So, and so on and so on. So, AI has tremendous impact on many industries nowadays. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, cool stuff. And because you're working in tech, so the CTO role, the CDO role maybe is also changing, right? So how do you think it is changing?
So, I mean, I think that CTOs and CDOs in general, right? I mean, the shift is from being pure technical leaders to becoming business leaders, and it's not happened because of AI and because now, right? I mean, that is the demand of our nowadays world. So I think the CTOs must today, besides dealing with technology, innovation, budgets, right? So they also need to understand how to work with CEOs, CFOs, board members. Stakeholder management became very important part of the day-to-day job. CDOs also, right? I mean, today is not only about how to organize data, but it's focusing on business value of AI, of business value of analytics, business value of governance, right? And so on and so on. I think, as I said before, I mean, the innovation cycle from 2-3 years became weeks. Also, to be very practical, 2 weeks ago, I was in presentation of OpenAI. So, and they were presenting that the release of different models, which were taken years, now is weeks, and it's official presentation. It is not like some article that we read, like official OpenAI presentation. So I mean, and this is what it means for CTOs and CDOs. It means that they need to be much more faster on top of different technological cycles, because it's open up a lot of different capabilities in technology right now, right? So, I mean, the difference between model versions is can be super huge and game changer for the company. And also another example, I mean, of speed and rapidly evolving technology is Gartner recently confirmed that new version on Hugging Face of new LLM models, right, and different types of models is released every 2.5 days. So think about this, right? I mean, I was astonished when I heard it, right? I mean, that every 2.5 days there is a new version of certain model. So on average, and this what it shows, right? I mean, is that CDOs and CTOs needs to adapt of not reading like newsletter once a year, right? I mean, but really reading it probably every week, because there are so many different changes which are happening. And another point which is evolving is everything related to cybersecurity. I mean, we can speak about this topic separately, right? But overall, I think the cybersecurity and risk management in nowadays changing world requires new solutions, right? I mean, and these solutions is beyond checkbox of I'm compliant, right? I mean, or certain certificate, because AI, in the same way how it is helping to protect, in the same way it's helping to actually attack. So, and this is also a big change in the mindset of CTOs and CDOs that should happen right now, because it is not anymore a human being in many cases at all, right? I mean, how you protect the organization from deepfakes right now? So there are already some solutions, right? But how you do the change management in organization to protect against deepfake attacks, right? I mean, and many other attacks, right? So which is generated by AI, like phishing and so on. So this is another change that must happen, in my opinion.
I think CTOs also need to understand like fraud and risk. I think that's what I'm looking at, because it's like they understand tech, so they understand how AI can also be misused. So I think what I'm seeing is that CTOs should jump into also like understanding the risk side of the business, right? Because otherwise it's going to be like the business guys are trying to solve something for what they don't even know what it is capable of, because tech understands more.
Yeah.
But because we are coming towards an end, one final question: a funny story from you being a CTO.
Funny story from me being CTO. Interesting. I love your questions. I mean, there are so many stories, to be honest. I can give one funny story. So I hired one developer, and I was making an interview. It's a brilliant guy, really. I mean, he was a Scala backend developer. And during the interview, obviously you're asking why you are leaving the company. And this was the funniest answer ever I have had. So some like intrinsic motivation of the people is very different things, right? Some want money, some title, some good environment, some good team, and so on. And this guy said that I left the company because they didn't have a sofa. I mean the couch. So I mean, like, he is used to work in the companies, not in the chair and the table, but used to work like leaning on the couch, right? So, I mean, and do I pronounce it correctly? Couch, right? So
Yeah, yeah,
sofa, yeah. So leaning on the couch, and he said, like, I mean, I asked founders to buy a couch, they refused, and I left the company. And it is brilliant engineer, right? So I mean, we hired him, right? So God bless, we had a couch in our office. So and this was clarified immediately. And then we worked for several years together, and he was very good engineer and so on. But yes, I mean, like, you discovered that for some people such things are important, right? I mean, and it's real issue for the company. So yeah, this would be my story, right? So
I mean,
out of stories.
that's actually funny, but because if you didn't have a sofa or a couch that time, you should have ordered one. Like, you should have gone one and bought one immediately.
Exactly.
Like, because we are hiring the guy, let's get a sofa as well.
Yeah.
But this was super cool, super cool. So with that, I would like to say thank you so much for joining in today, Dmitry. This was
Thank you,
actually
Majid.
very insightful and a very fun conversation. Is there something that you would like to say as a closing remark to the listeners?
I think, I mean, I think we didn't spoke enough of cybersecurity, so I will just give a couple of words maybe about this. I mean, like, cybersecurity nowadays is very evolving, and AI is having a huge impact on it. And nowadays, AI can be used for protective defense, and it can be used for faster incident response and triage. It can be used for the many things. But people should be aware that AI is really in the hands of hackers right now too. And AI generated phishing, adaptive malware, deepfakes attacks, it's a reality nowadays. So, and there is a big shift from shadow IT to shadow AI in many organizations. And in my opinion, what many CTOs and CDOs and founders should be aware, right? I mean, is that you need to take care of it, right? So, for example, many industries now on board AI agents, right? So, but how you secure AI agents, which permissions you give them. This is definitely one of the trends in cybersecurity. It's confirmed by latest RSA and GSEC conferences. And also risk management is a big thing. It requires really new innovative risk management approaches, like new AI analysis, scoring, combination of cybersecurity and compliance is very important. So I would say do not underestimate the cybersecurity and compliance in your organization, especially when you are scaling. And as a closing word, right? I mean, if you're talking about the entrepreneurship, and maybe I love to teach and mentor different young entrepreneurs, and I always ask them different sessions and accelerators. Like, I mean, what would be your final advice, right? So for the young entrepreneurs, so my advice, there are two of them. One is, if you love it, don't think too much, just go and do it. I mean, just go for it, right? So, I mean, go for it and try. You'll figure out the way. Many ideas, they are not the same like at the beginning after 1 year, because you found some market fit which is completely different from what you thought, but just go and do it. And second advice, build your network. I mean, network is really your, as I said, private university. It's your treasure. I mean, you develop and communicate with people. Don't afraid to ask questions. Build your network over time. And this is how I would close up.
Cool. No, that was valuable advice. Also, thank you for that, and thank you for being on the show.
It was my pleasure, Majid, and thanks a lot for inviting. Really enjoyed the conversation.
Me too. With that, I would like to say thank you so much again, Dmitry. To our listeners, thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning into the Executives this week. If you found this episode valuable, do not forget to subscribe and share it with your network. And if you want to connect with Dmitry, his LinkedIn and the website to Tech Biz Global would be mentioned into the description section. So until next time, this is Majid signing off.